Today we're moving the stereo from a 2011 Ford F150. We're going to start with our pry bar and pry the small plastic piece up above the car stereo and above the display here up and remove this panel. This is going to give access to two 7mm bolts, both going straight down. And we're going to remove these bolts. This front panel here is secured into the dash by clips in these two front bolts, but it also, the panels on both sides overlap the front panel to be able to remove it. So after removing these two screws, now at the bottom of the dash there's a small panel that goes across the bottom of the dash here that we're going to remove. It's held on by several clips, and we're going to pull this out. The clips are on the ends here. And this is going to free up the bottom. Now we're going to, if you have the sink, the Microsoft sink, what we're going to do is go into the sides of this panel and attempt to pull it out or push it out from the back. There we go. That's going to pull this out and bring that forward. What this does is exposes one more 7mm screw here at the bottom of the dash that we're going to remove. We have a full library of removal guides on our website at carstereohelp.com. See our website if you have any other questions or stereos or cars you need help with removing the stereo. Next we're going to release the edges of the two side panels. They overlap the front control panel, so in order to get the front control panel out we have to release these clips along the edges here. Now we don't need to remove these panels, we just need to lift them back away from the face of the radio and the front trim panel. See how they overlap on the side here, and we've lifted this front panel off about an inch now. We're going to do the same for this side. Get that one back as well. Now this is going to allow us to grab the top and bottom of the front trim panel, release it over the side. These are the two clips that were hidden behind the panel on the side that need to be released. And we're going to do the same and release them on the right side here. And that'll allow us to bring the stereo forward. Now we have the passenger airbag light here on the top, so we don't want to release the top connector here, but we're going to work down to the other connectors to give us a little bit more room here. And these connectors all have triggers on the side of them. Now there's the airbag sensor connector at the top. We have a connector here coming down along the side here, and we need to push the trigger in on the side of this to release this connector. That one will remove. This allows us to pull it forward a little bit more. And the triggers on these connectors at the bottom are on the side here, and we can release these connectors too for the AC controls. There's one. Another one has a trigger on the side over here as well. That will release those. We'll pull this up and release the trigger on the cigarette lighter way down here. Now we're going to release the two connectors on the sink here at the bottom. There's one trigger here with an orange tab on it. This orange tab usually has to be pulled back slightly, remove it, and it'll allow you to push the trigger down on it. The second sink connector over here has a connector on the bottom that you also squeeze down to lift the trigger and release it. And it comes right out of the front panel, and we're going to feed these two connectors through the bottom. Turn this panel around and lay it up on the dash. This is going to give access to the car stereo. The car stereo has 4 mounting bolts, one on the bottom right, one on the top right, and 2 on the left as well. We're going to remove all these screws, and it will allow us to pull the car stereo out of the dash. We have this radio in this shop today for acting up and not working properly. We're going to see what we can do about getting that up to the bench and straightening it out today. Now we have the 4 bolts removed, and this is going to allow us to pull the car stereo forward. Again, we have several connectors here on the back. The main connector here has a trigger on the top that was squeezed down and release. There's that one. The next connector here also has a trigger on the top, and we're going to squeeze that trigger down in and release that. We have the main antenna, that's the orange cable, and you want to grasp the black base of that and just pull that from the back of the radio, and the remaining connector here has a trigger on the top of it for an antenna as well if we don't remove it. This is how you remove the stereo from a Ford F-150 pickup truck. We've been through the troubleshooting phase, had the radio out of the shop, and the original problem we had was when we hit the power buttons, we would get the 6 CD lights here in the dash. They would blink on and then blink off, and the radio would not turn on. We went through the troubleshooting upstairs, came back down, and we found resetting this stereo helped it. It does communicate with the computer in the car, or does communicate. We found disconnecting the battery for 10 minutes and hooking it back up brought the stereo back to life. Hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching.